You don't have to cut your audio to talk to your wife. You're allowed to do that.
I don't know what's gonna pop out.
Okay,
Look,
all right.
you are ADHD and all that. So is she. You don't know what the hell is gonna pop out of you. Like you have a microphone in your face and headphones over your ears. You are like dialed in and focused. You don't know
Fair.
what the ADHD mind is gonna rattle off.
No, that's very true. That is it is a bomb waiting to go off at all times. That is for sure.
Yeah, I like you. You never like. Yeah, I'll I'll keep the risk low. No, I mean, God, what really happened this week? Set aside from the VP debates, which did you watch?
Nope. These ones I did not. No, I didn't. I decided to bow out of these ones. I got
Any
enough of
reason?
the highlights. Huh?
Any reason?
Well, I mean, I think it's just in general. I'm generally bored with the debates lately because I don't feel like they've never yielded anything new since, like, I think the Democratic primary debates of 2016 was like the last time I ever like learned anything new about a candidate during a debate. And so I've just kind of gotten bored with them lately. I watched the presidential debates that took place last week because there was a part of me that was really, really hoping that Kamala Harris would take out a pair of pliers and a blowtorch on the guy. And she only took out the blowtorch. And so I kind of walked away disappointed. So, um,
Well, it's not really debatable whether Harris won that debate or not. But the VP debate,
mhm.
that one's a little more up for question.
I have heard that was what happened. Yeah,
Because,
it basically is kind of like seems to be universally called a tie, is what it sounds like. Most people are saying.
but for strange reasons.
Mm.
So when you watch the VP debate, you see Walls, very genuine man,
Mm.
very very genuine. Technically speaking, he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
JD Vance, he's a good debater. He like you cannot take that away from him. He is
Mm-hmm.
a strong debater.
Right.
But he lied. He was slick, and that doesn't work on the voters.
Right.
Like that's the thing. Like, and in this generation, there are way more informed voters than there ever has been.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So those kind of lies, they may have worked in the past, and they they do still work on a lot of voters. However, we all know Trump said those things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When JD Vance, JD Vance made a point that, Trump, he was there on January 20th, like handing over power. It's like, no, literally, he's the only president in the history of our country to not have been there.
Yeah. No,
Like, that is
that is
wow,
it
what a
was yeah, it was a big deal that he was not there for the handover. He bailed out like a little bitch. Everybody knows that. Everybody saw it. It was on.
Yeah,
It was
see,
live on C-SPAN.
and see, like that, and that's the thing. And it was kind of not really kind of. It was a major deal. A lot of people were talking about it. That was a major
Mhm.
point. So for Vance to go up there and disrespect the voters like that,
Yeah.
because that's how I feel when I watch a politician lie to me in a way that is just so easily disproved. I'm like, dude, I just feel disrespected by the politician.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like JD, he, in all technical aspects, if he were being graded in school on the debate team or something like that, he absolutely 100% won that debate.
Right. Okay.
But we saw who he was. And we saw who Walls was.
Yeah.
And the thing was, Walls was asked a question, and we got an answer that we don't get from politicians. I got caught up in the rhetoric, and I misspoke, and sometimes I'm a knucklehead.
He literally said that.
He literally said that.
Wow.
We don't
Jesus.
get that answer from politicians.
No,
So
we don't. Holy cow.
just from Walls saying that, he won.
Yeah, like mad respect. Like that is the most respectable thing I have ever heard anyone say before in
And
politics.
that's why I'm saying Vance handed him his ass. Wall still won
Hmm.
in the way that
Okay.
mattered. Wall still won. And
Okay.
see, the thing is where people are like kind of arguing whether like calling it a tie. No, it wasn't. Vance handed him his ass. The only reason that people are even saying it's a tie is because of how genuine Walls was.
Okay.
When your integrity makes people argue that you won something that you straight up lost because of we got to see your character and your morality, I think you won.
Yeah, no, that's saying something for sure.
But this is still a neck and neck race, which
Yeah, I
what?
know. I
Ay,
gotta,
ay.
I gotta, I gotta wonder about that sometimes. I, I don't know. Like part of it is and they'll even openly admit, like, first of all, it's likely voters that are being polled. Anybody who's young and registering for the first time is not being polled because they're not on the pollsters call list yet. Um, if they are my age or younger, they're not answering the phone to a phone number they don't recognize. Like, so basically the people getting polled are people who have voted uh going back as far as Reagan and are somehow still alive. And so we honestly don't have any clue how this is going to go. And that also
Nope.
and that then that even like throws in the
Well, there's
monkey
the other
wrench.
part of like what he tried back in 2016 or 2020
Mhm.
with
Right, yeah.
like the false slate of electors.
Mhm. Yep.
There are more Trump loyalists in those positions than there were back in 2020.
That's the
So
thing.
no,
Is like
Trump may
that's
very well wind up president, even though he may very well get crushed in the popular vote.
that's the thing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's precisely why we need to, yeah. It's like, how much more evidence that the 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 electoral college has to go do we need before we finally get rid of the damn thing? Um,
If it weren't for the Republican Party, it would already. I think it would already be gone.
yeah, well, it's because it's the only way they can win anymore. I mean, that's the thing is
That is true. The
for
Republican
the
Party does
with
not like. When's the last time that anybody from the Republican Party has won the popular vote?
George Bush's reelection was the last time.
Was it the reelection? Okay.
Yep, he didn't even win it for his election, but he won it. He got it for his
No, it
reelection.
was that big court deal out in Florida, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like in at least in my lifetime, um, Reagan, I don't think even for his reelection, I don't think he even got the popular vote. He might have gotten it for his election, but not his reelection. But then, yeah, even since Reagan, that the one the one time that a Republican president has won the popular vote was Bush's reelection. Since then, like they're just not popular. They win on
No, I mean,
technicalities only.
it's harder to win as a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because you can't just win by a majority. You have to win by a supermajority when it comes to
Yep.
things that happen in the House, which is why. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure there's a political reason that has been put out in the past, justifications for it. It does not. I can't think of how it makes sense. We're like if we're running the republic under democracy, it should just be whoever gets the most votes. The whole
Yeah,
supermajority thing should not exist.
the
At least, like
only
I said, if it does, I don't know why
right
it does.
the only argument I've heard against it that makes sense, that makes, and even then I'd say it's 50-50. I'd say it's an iffy on whether it makes sense, but it's the closest one to making sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that because of the high population centers of places like New York, LA,
Oh well,
Portland, stuff
no,
like
okay,
that,
all of that,
you
yeah,
know,
that's pretty obvious,
yeah,
yeah.
it's so you like the idea of where a majority of votes are coming from the very urban areas. They don't want the people in the urban areas to be dictating rural life that
And
no one
that,
understands.
but and realistically, that does make sense. There is like when it comes to federal programs,
Hmm.
There is no reason why farms in California, North Dakota, Texas, and Florida should all be operating the same. They
Exactly.
don't,
Yes.
or the regulations should all be the same. They don't operate the same, so it doesn't make
Right.
sense to actually call it. Things like that, when you talk about federal versus states' rights and
Hmm.
decisions, things that pertain to physical geography, like the climate of your region, the crops of your
Right.
region, things like that, those kinds of decisions should absolutely be at the state level. But when it
Hmm.
comes to federal protections for the American citizens,
Right.
that should not be state level.
No,
If you're an
absolutely.
American
Yeah.
citizen, your protections should be there.
What? Yeah, and the weird thing is that a lot of these arguments they do kind of come down to an assumption like this is going to be the last time we're going to talk about it.
That's never the
Where it's like,
case.
yeah, like it's like, people say like, oh, well, if you make this legal, then that sets a precedent that makes all these things, legal, and or if you do this, then people are just going to want to do that, and I'm just like, well, if people do want to do that, then we'll discuss it then too. Like, it's not like we don't sit here and litigate every single fucking thing every single day. At no point does any domino ever fucking fall in this country.
Pretty much, well, no, they constantly fall, but they get picked back up. It's more like they never get
Mm.
removed from the deck.
No, yeah, no, that's
The
a very good
issue
point.
is there, and it comes back and all that. Like, I mean, when it came to the programs of building this country,
Mhm.
those were important, those were needed. But when it came to the programs over sustaining what we built in this country failed.
Oh, for absolutely, yeah.
Like, that is, and so when you're coming up against things like that, we have a lot of work that we still have to do with this country. And when it came to all the things that we put in for building it, a lot of
Mhm.
those things need to be changed because we found out about the long term ramifications over using certain building materials.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, it's called learning, which, well, we talked about with the VP debate when, like, with Walls admitting that he, like, misspoke and that sometimes he's an idiot and things like that.
Yeah.
You don't ever hear that. But what you also never get to hear, almost never get to hear, is that I sat down, I had the conversations, and I learned.
Yeah.
A lot of people are attacking Harris on her flip flopping position for fracking.
Oh,
She
yeah.
went into the White House not having a full understanding over how many jobs actually, like, fracking help across this country, like all the things that came with that. So where she talked about in the past banning fracking, she has changed her mind and come
Sure.
around and talked about lessening it and putting up more restrictions and regulations towards it. She's not
Right.
talking about banning it anymore.
No,
That's
yeah.
not flip flopping. That's getting into a position and learning more from your position and growing
Right,
from
yeah.
it. That's what we
That's under
want from politicians.
exactly. That's understanding that, the I mean, like I was having this conversation with my son the other day where I was, we were talking economy and stuff like that. And I was you've heard me give this speech before about how I personally believe the worst thing in not just the American economy, the world economy is the stock market. The root of all evil in America starts the stock
I've
market.
heard you give that
Yeah.
speech.
Yeah. And I've said to him, I said, if I had my druthers, we would ban the stock market. The problem is that we have intertwined so much of our economy into the stock market that doing that would be beyond apocalyptic.
Uh-huh.
So we need to figure something else out. We need to figure out a way to stymie the damage it does, or work our way out of it slowly.
Well, that's one of
what
the
an
things. Like,
educated, reasonable person does.
during the summer of protest, there was one woman who her clip went very, very viral, and it was the black woman who was saying that burn it down. You remember that?
Right.
There was one clip in
Vaguely,
particular
yes.
of this woman, glasses, braids, hair about down to here. And she was talking about burn it down. And they cut the clip and they shredded it to kind of say that she was talking about burn the country down. She was referencing legislation and all of these things and all of these bullshit programs that have really hurt the American people. And honestly, kind of agree. There's a certain point like where so many things, so many amendments, so many addendums, so many things have gotten in to where the American people get screwed because the corporations and such have so many more protections than we do.
Right.
it might be time to kind of burn it down and start over again. And I'm not saying I'm like keep our constitution, keep our thing, everything like that. Maybe rewrite the constitution, because I don't think that we even need to have a document that ever said that black, like the 2/3 law.
Right.
We can move forward from that. We can rewrite. We can have those documents be there in museums and stuff like that, but we don't need to be operating off of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
it's the Constitution. It's not the Ark of the Covenant. Yes, we can make a new one if we wanted to. Absolutely.
My God, you can amend it. People in this country love talking about a couple of those amendments in particular.
Sure,
really,
sure.
They actually stopped reading after the second one. Actually, most people can't even quote the actual Second Amendment.
No, yeah.
Like there's some specifics in there, but
although what is it? The Third Amendment is no quarters, right? Or no requirement of quarters.
Is that the third?
I think I'm trying to remember if that's the third.
It gets jumbled until I get down into 13th. Because
I'm trying to remember. I remember when I was a kid and learning.
We should all know the Bill of Rights. I mean,
we should. You'd think. Well, and I feel like I feel like it's one of those things like they covered, and I was in fact quizzed on the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, when I was like in 7th grade, but then no one ever brought them up ever again after that, and so they just kind of like
talking about the Bill of Rights in high school.
Yeah, so they kind of got deleted for be like, well, we don't need this shit anymore, But I do remember thinking that they're the one amendment that says, that the government cannot force me to house soldiers in my house, during times of war.
Mm.
And I remember thinking, holy fuck, was that a thing? Like, oh my God, how much would that suck to just be like, hi, we got some soldiers here who are hungry and tired. They've been marching all night. We're sleeping at your place. Get the fuck out of the way. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Thank you, James Madison, for writing that one down. That you would think it would be a small thing, but
no, not so small.
Apparently not. Yeah, that's
no.
But then reaching my 20s and finding out how many romance novels were written on that exact setup right there, and so now I'm a little weirded out by the whole thing.
That is a genre I have not come across yet. All the books that I've auditioned to read and all that, nope. There was still okay. The first audiobook that I ever did, I wound up playing an Italian New York race car driver who got injured and is now part of the pit crew. And every time that we read the love scene, for some reason, I cannot for the life of me remember, my character needed to have a bucket.
A bucket of what?
I don't remember. There was just something. There was some reason in this romance novel that I read, and this was with Dana, the writer and the narrator that I'm trying to introduce you to.
Okay. So the two of you were both narrating this together?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and we were sitting in there. I'm reading my scene. I'm like, I'm not gonna go full accent and everything like that, but it's like I can't remember. It was like the climax of the moment and all that, and I'm like, and all I could do was go over and grab my bucket. Like I had to take that line so many times because I could not stop laughing while I was delivering it, and Dana was like mastering my audio at the same time, and she was just fucking rolling on the floor. I was like, dude, like, what is this? Like, what? Who takes a bucket in the bedroom for sex? I don't want. No, never mind. I don't want. No.
We're not kink shaming anybody on this show.
Oh, I'll kink shame the hell out of a lot of people. I'm not that guy. No. I got some weird things I like. You got some weird things you like. You got some weird things you like. That is just human nature, okay? Whether you tell people or not, that's different. However, no. Everybody's into weird things. I would, and that's the thing. If
you think this is the moment where my ADD causes me to just start confessing to shit right now, no, I've been trained, bro.
Oh no, see, I know you have a little bit of a lid when it comes in that regard. No, I'm talking like
I've had that happen in front of too many girlfriends'
me,
parents for me to not learn.
okay, this channel is not that kind of channel, so I'm not going into the detail here. But I have had people tell me some things that I want to call the cops. Now, I'm not saying because I know that they're illegal things. I'm saying I want to call the cops and go, excuse me, should I be reporting this person? This doesn't feel like a legal thing. But let me just be clear. What I'm not describing is nothing that any of us would immediately know is illegal or not. That's why I'm saying, like, it's nothing that bad.
I
It's
see what you're
just
saying.
not the person you want to invite over to your mom's Tupperware party, you know?
Okay. So what you're saying is while you're not out to kink shame anybody, you do feel that if you're going to tell someone, that opens you up to going, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yep.
Okay.
No, if you are willing to tell people, you're willing to get shamed. I'm sorry.
Which maybe that's your thing.
And that might be your kink. Maybe kink shaming is your kink. I don't want to be part of the game, though. So maybe I shouldn't have that conversation. That's
That would be a really difficult romance book to write. Someone whose kink is getting kink shamed. That would be
That's a comedy. That is a comedy romance novel. That actually sounds
That is a Jim
hilarious.
Carrey movie is what that is.
I miss Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
But I get it, man. He's like what he said. Like I've respected the man my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
When he said, "I have enough."
Yep.
Man, when do you ever hear somebody say that?
It's first time.
On. That's what I'm loving about. I mean, we're like back to the political thing. That's what I'm really loving about it, man. I'm loving seeing humility and genuine persona, like that. I ain't seen that. That's what cost Hillary the election.
Yeah.
Like she should not have lost to Donald Trump. That like pretty much almost everybody agrees with that.
That was I agree. That was the main problem.
She walked in there acting like she knew she was gonna get it.
No, I agree. Yep. It was the overconfidence, the
however unpopular opinion,
borderline entitlement.
I remember saying this before the transfer of power, but when Obama was still in office.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump making it into the White House is the best thing that this country could have had happen.
Oh, you think it was a wake-up call that was needed?
I do. The average person, the average voter is infinitely more informed and active compared to what they were in 2015.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The amount of people who are involved in the political process and the amount of people who basically got activated, and it's like, okay, no, things are not just good. It does take work. It does take maintenance. A lot of people got involved in politics because of that. I think it was the best. It hurt, but for the longevity of our country, I actually think it might have been a very good thing.
Well, fingers crossed. We're still seeing how the longevity plays out.
Hey, that's just a piece of my optimism showing.
And I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, well, let's see how the next 5 years goes, and then we'll know for sure if it was good for the longevity.
True. I know that Trump has said that he's not going to run again. So whether that's true or not, if he's alive, he's running. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
I don't.
There's
think
no.
that's...
Yeah. I mean, I'm fingers crossed he doesn't live that long. Not that I wish anything bad to happen to him. It's just that it would really be nice to not have to hear about him anymore. Is all I'm saying. It has
been a rough few decades.
If he just shut the fuck up, then he can live as long as he wants.
Honestly, I mean, go back. I mean,
he doesn't even want to be president.
He doesn't. And he never did.
Yeah, I've never seen someone fight so hard for a job they hated so much.
The whole
Like,
like when he was in office, he kept talking about how much he missed his old life. He doesn't want to be president.
yeah,
This is like chasing pardons, I think, because the Supreme
yeah.
Court did say that his level of immunity, if he got back into office, was kind of
No, yeah, no. This is
total.
he's running from jail. That's his only motivation right now. Well, running from jail and staying in the spotlight because more than anything,
I think
he
it's more
cannot
staying in
stay.
the spotlight.
Yeah,
That's
he
like,
can't.
and
He
that's
can't
why
stand not
when
being paid
the
attention
debate
to.
against Harris went down, it like her bringing up people leaving his rallies. That's why that hurt him so much because
Oh
that like
yeah,
at his
that
core,
was good.
he is not a
That was a
politician.
good one.
He
Yep.
is not. He is not the working man's man. He is not. No, at his core, he is an entertainer.
Yep.
And to tell an entertainer that people are leaving their shows early, that hurts.
He was
You
so
and I
mad
have
at
both been on stage
that.
performing, and if we were the reason that people were leaving, ow.
Oh yeah. Yep. No, I've had it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So
Um.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if he was a politician, if he was the developer guy, if he was anything that he actually said that he was, that would not have hurt him.
Mhm.
But he is the entertainer. So that's why that cut him. And like, so when he became president, I was rooting for him because rooting for him is rooting for my country.
That's the thing. It's like I even remember like
But I did
in
not want him to
between.
be in there, and I don't want him to be in there
No,
again.
yeah, I remember in the in between, like after the election, but before he got in, I remember I was at the hotel and it was just me and the night security guy, and we were just both kind of sitting there going like, man, can you believe this, and and he goes, what do you think he's gonna do when he gets in? And I go, honestly, that's kind of the issue is that I have no fucking idea. Like this was a guy who spent the whole time saying whatever he needed to say to make the sale. What
Hmm.
he meant is a complete and utter mystery. We have no clue what he's going to do.
I
And he
remember
goes,
living in this
and he
like, oh, go ahead.
and
Sorry,
he
go
even
ahead.
he even said that the security guard, I was talking to, he goes like, so you think like there's a chance he could get into office and then just do all the things Hillary said she was going to do? And I go, he could do that. He could do that. Like we both like held on to each other, like just like he could do that. He could do that.
That see, and there was the possibility that Trump, the guy who knew how to market and get ahead and do all of these things, would
Hmm.
actually have taken all the populist decisions and
Yep.
all of that and actually done that and gained all of that love and do all that. He could have done that.
He could have
He
done that.
very much could have. But man, did he not. But the
Yep.
fantasy that I was kind of living in for a little bit in between when he won the election and January 20th, I was fantasizing that he would step down and like give a speech about this is what happens when you don't pay attention. Someone like me, like I was just hoping like that he would realize he doesn't want to be there, and he would
Right.
give like some sort of speech like that, being like, "Guys, I don't want to be here. This is not a thing. This was a mark." I was just fantasizing about honesty, and then watching him step down, and then Mike Pence be president, which that would have been pretty rough as well,
Yeah.
but in a way different way. I
Yep.
don't think Pence would have thrown out the Obama era pandemic playbook.
Probably not. No.
No,
No.
I think he actually would have understand that that was a bipartisan thing that was constructed for the betterment of the country. Trump was aware of it, and he literally threw it out because it had Obama's name on it.
That's the thing. Like Trump
I don't
was
think Pence would have done
Trump,
that.
Yeah, Trump's main thing was about just undoing everything Obama did. Pence was not that petty. He would have been a shitty president, but yeah, he wouldn't have undone the good things. Like he still would have tried to do the undoing Obamacare for sure. Um, he might have actually succeeded because he wouldn't have been as
He may
bad at
have
it as
actually
Trump
had
was.
something to replace it with. Trump
Yeah.
didn't. Like that
That's
was
the
their
thing.
whole thing is repeal and replace, and they tried to repeal, but it was the only reason it was not successful is because there was nothing to replace it with,
Exactly. Yep.
and because of John McCain's big thumbs down moment.
Which who knows how much of that? Because that's the thing. McCain was his own man. You never knew which way he was going to go. So how much
No,
of
that's
that
what made him
was
great.
Yeah, no matter how much of that made him, was it because of actual genuine policy belief, or was he really just sticking it to Trump because of how Trump stuck it to him?
Well, see, that was the thing about McCain. McCain was not as hard on the party line, which is why when Obama was running against him, I struggled with that a little bit.
It was.
I wound up voting for Obama
Mhm.
because I did believe that, and this is kind of how I feel about a lot of things. If you are the first of anything, you're going to try a lot harder than anybody who comes after you.
Yes, that's for sure.
Unless you phenomenally screw it up, then whoever comes after you is going to try way harder to prove that, this type of person can get it done.
Hmm.
So, in voting for the first black president, I honestly thought that he was going to push and do better than anybody else because he came with a point to prove.
Because he was, yeah, yep.
So, honestly, I
Yeah,
voted for the black guy for racism. Just being
I was,
honest.
I've just always been, for me, it was, I bought into the sales pitch of the fact that he actually was going to do the progressive policies that he promised, because he was a very slick talker, you know.
Well, it wasn't that he specifically kind of cut back on that. He,
Mhm.
like, Mitch McConnell straight up flat out said that it was his goal in life to block anything
And
that Obama put front.
that certainly was a big thing about it. But like
And
the
Republicans
two,
ran the House during that time.
the two things that really got me, and they were really really early on, and they were in that first two years when he had the supermajority that he could have basically done whatever he wanted to.
Hmm.
But he chickened out on some of the most important ones because he genuinely was worried that going too hard to the left was going to guarantee a red wave in 2 years, which happened anyway. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those, like, motherfucker, what you
Well, that's the thing.
spent
I've
all,
noticed this
you
throughout the
wasted your
years.
collateral for nothing.
Democrats get into office and they tiptoe hoping for bipartisanship. Republicans get into office and they just do what they came to do.
That's the thing. Yeah,
Democrats need to act more like Republicans if they want to get stuff done.
yeah.
Like no matter what you say, like if Republicans had the policies that would actually be better for the people, I'd be voting Republican every time because they are the more effective party.
Hmm.
When they aim to get something done, whether it's to get it passed or to get it trashed,
Yep.
they get it done.
Even if it doesn't make any damn sense, they
No.
still get it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I would like to vote Republican because I feel like every time that I do vote Republican, what they said they were going to do, they're going to do. However, what the Republicans are keep saying they want to do now, I can't do it.
Right.
Like that's like I'm sorry, like economic policies, yeah, I do lean quite a bit more conservative when it comes to economic policies and things like that. You cannot get me to care about who somebody marries or sleeps with or what somebody wants to do with their genitals. You cannot get me to care. And
Yeah.
that is way too much over what the Republican ticket is all about these days.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, you go back to policies, you go back to giving me something, you actually have a platform that has to do with economic policies and
Mhm.
or farmlands or roads and bridges. You actually bring policies and things that you want to get done and
Mhm.
stop talking about ripping people's rights away. I will vote Republican again because, like I said, they are more effective for whatever reason it may be. But man, and that's one thing that Vance did bring up at the debate.
Mhm.
They have lost the trust of the American people and they need to get it back. He's right.
He is right about that. He's going about
Trump's
it through a
presidency,
really
they
weird
kept
way.
bringing it up that Donald Trump may represent the end of the Republican Party.
Well, I remember that was what Lindsey Graham's. That's the big quote that he was given during the primary, was that if Donald Trump becomes the primary candidate, that's the end of the Republican Party. And
That's what,
mean,
yeah, I think he may have
yeah.
started that, but as people were going through, like even to this day, well, I guess I haven't heard that recently, but there have been like Republican governors and senators that are going out there and they are yelling on the House floor and they're like, the American people do not care about this. stop.
Yeah.
And they are yelling at their Republican counterparts, and they're telling them, like, if you keep bringing this up, the American people are not going to vote for us. Our party will die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are really, like, because they get it. They get that we don't care. Like that, and that's the thing. We want economic policies. We want bridges. We want roads. We want to go to clean beaches and lakes.
Mm-hmm.
We do not care if our neighbor marries somebody that's the same sex. We just don't. We care way more about getting our rent paid or getting into a home. Those are the things that we care about. So, Republican Party, stop talking about that crap and get to work, and people will vote for you again.
Mm-hmm.
I know how liberal you are. I don't know if you're enjoying the Republican advice.
Honestly, like it's one of those things where it's like, I am one of those folks.
Multiple party system, and I want them bouncing off of each other. I
the
want
parliamentary
them
system. Yeah. Well,
that's
this. Ranked choice voting would help for that, and there's some places trying to introduce that.
Yeah.
And
I have heard of that. I do actually like that.
Yeah.
It does make a lot of sense, doesn't it?
They got it in Alaska a couple years back, and I hear it's working out pretty well there so far. What was it? I was gonna say like that's the thing is like, I'm considered a pretty liberal guy. Some have accused me of being a communist. I don't agree, but I see where you're coming from on that. But the thing is that it's like, I don't believe that, these are extreme things. Like when you get down to, it's like the greatest example of this was back in, I want to say like, it was like 2014, 2012 or something like that. And again, I realized I just got done shit talking the accuracy of polls, but this is still a pretty decent example. Polls being done of different, likely voters and stuff like that. And the question on that they were being asked was about the ACA, was about Obamacare, and how when they asked people like, what do you think about this policy? What do we think about this policy? What do you think about this policy? And instead of just asking, and then they would go, okay, so what do you think of Obamacare? So when they marched down the policies that Obamacare had, they were like 80 to 90% in approval. It wasn't until you got to what do you think of Obamacare did it go down to like 30 to 40%. Because none of these people had been told what the fuck was actually in the ACA. They were just being told that Obamacare was bad, and that was it. If you can take out the buzzwords, if you can take out the rhetoric and the catchphrases and the talking points, if you can get down to the nitty-gritty of, don't you think you should be able to afford to support your family on a full-time job without having to work 6 overtimes? Everyone goes, well, yeah, sure. Like that's
Sounds
like
good.
9. Yeah. Paid family leave has like 70% approval. Universal healthcare has like 70% approval. Background checks for guns has like 90% approval.
That's
even if
thing.
you,
like I said, where I come from, a lot of conservative friends, everything like that. And that's the thing. Like when I jump, I listen to the news and I listen to these guys talk, and they're pushing their points, but I barely know anybody that actually agrees with everything they say.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, like so like my most conservative buddies, yeah, they want their gay neighbors to be able to protect themselves with a tank. They actually don't care that their neighbors are gay.
That would be fucking dope. Like a couple of gay guys running around in a little howitzer with a disco ball on top.
Okay, I know that only one of us is military, but I promise you, Doc, howitzers are not little.
Okay.
They're big.
What was the name of that little tiny guy that would just like barely fit like 2 soldiers? Or what were those?
like AP, like they have APCs that carry like
Maybe
eight
that's what
people.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, but even those are still bigger than cars. Yeah, no. I remember I remember being in Iraq and at my hooch, and I thought we were getting bombed, but it was just
Hmm.
the first time the tanks were driving by. Like just full on earthquake,
Okay,
and I'm like,
nice.
"What?" And I go outside, and this Bradley got to see some real Bradleys. M1 Abrams, Bradley's tank.
How long you been waiting to use that one?
A while. What,
No
man?
shade, man. No shade.
Not
I'm right there with you.
I
I get
just
it.
I just don't get that many opportunities. Like Brad is now one of the top 5 most unattractive names in the world.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Um, which sucks because why?
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, like I don't know why my parents even opted in to name me Brad. Every douchebag on TV was named Brad in the 80s. I don't know why they went that direction.
It's a really good question. I've wondered that myself. I still am trying to figure out why my generation all decided to name their daughters Kaylee and no one can agree on the spelling. That one I'm still trying to figure out.
Oh, there you go. That's not the only thing. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why there are no other Bradley Hackworths like me
Mm-hmm.
is because my first name is misspelled. That's why like I went to AI and I was like, "Can you draw a picture?" And I spelled my name how you spell my name, and it drew a picture of me, and I was like, "Fuck, there really isn't another one."
Wow.
Like, damn,
It's
my
like,
identity is really easy to steal.
did you ever see that? Did you ever see that that show, The Detour?
Mm-mm.
I'm
What's
trying to
that one
remember
about?
who's. Well, it starts
It
out.
sounds
It
like an
almost
MTV type show.
kind of it had that vibe to it, but I think it was a USA Network show.
You know
Um,
what they need to bring back real quick, up right
hmm,
before you get into this? Celebrity Deathmatch.
that was a fun one, wasn't it? Yeah.
The
Yep. I
claymation and
did.
everything. They need to bring that back. Sorry,
Yep.
go ahead.
But it basically was like they made a TV series out of National Lampoon's Vacation. It was about a family on a road trip to
Okay.
their to a an amusement park, but they get detoured. It's why it's called The Detour. Somehow this show went on for 5 seasons, and it was amazing all 5 seasons. I don't know how to explain it, but they pulled it off. I can't remember the dude's name, but he was one of the he's a Daily Show alum. He started out as one of the reporters for Daily Show, and
Jon
then he did
Stewart?
the not Jon Stewart. No, it was like I can't remember his name. You'd
Not
recognize
Oliver
him once
either.
you saw him. Yeah, you'd recognize him once you saw him.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, and but yeah, it reminded me of one of the bits in the show. One of the kids, because you got two parents, brother and sister. You know that whole nuclear family dynamic. The
right.
brother in it, his name's Jared throughout the whole thing. But then we find out in season 3, I think they find out that his name's actually Jerub with a B because when he was born, his parents were both really high at the time, and they misspelled his name on the birth certificate.
Jason Jones.
Jason Jones, that's him. Yes. Yep. So yeah,
No,
you'd
I
probably
thought
enjoy.
you were describing an old show, but this one ran from 2014 to 2019.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'd probably enjoy it, and it's not a long watch. It's only like 10 episodes per season. So
Oh, really? Do you
yeah.
know what it's on?
Now, no, it was
Fair.
on USA, I think, when it went out. So it probably is Hulu right now. It would be my
Uh,
first guess.
yeah, that does. Yeah, that makes sense. I know,
Yeah,
like, because Netflix gets a lot of USA shows too.
they do.
Yeah,
I would think that if it was on Netflix, it would have popped up on one of my
I would
recommended
have.
four.
Yeah, I would assume so too. I mean, that's kind of my humor, so I would have guessed so. But here we are. What is the date today? It's the third, right?
Yeah.
33 days.
Whew.
33 days till we find out what happens.
It's gonna be intense.
Actually, it's not going to be 33 days because, like I said earlier, because of the Trump loyalists that are throughout the country in those positions of the electors,
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah. It's gonna
we
be
don't know
drawn
what's
out.
going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. There's election day and then there's when we actually get results. It could be a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple TV. It's on Apple TV or you can buy it on Amazon streaming. So yeah, those are your options. Sorry.
Too many. Too many services. There's too
Yeah,
many services, man. This is ridiculous.
I concur.
I'm bored with this. Like what we have to do now, or well, not what we have to do, but what we do is every month we only do 1 month of a streaming service, and then we
Mm,
cancel it immediately, and then we go over, and then the next month we check out the catalog, and then we go through what movies, what shows, everything like that. We'll go with this one this month. But the people who have like all these streaming services, oh my god, how much money are they like?
yeah,
There are
you're
people who
spending.
are spending so much money they don't even realize it because of all the things they've subscribed to.
That's the
That
thing is
sucks.
you're spending twice as much than you did on cable TV for like a not even a quarter of the total content that you got
Right.
with cable TV. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's a bummer, but I mean, like, it's kind of weird because like now we have like these bundle packages, which I'm loving the jokes on the memes that come out of it. It's like, wow,
Mm.
we went so long that we reinvented cable.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, and yeah, how accurate is that? That's literally what we did. Now we have commercials on like all streaming services, and we can't knock them. Are you kidding me here? I thought we were doing pretty okay for a while,
Well,
but
and it just and well, and this brings me. Look, it's the stock market again, man. Because they wouldn't have to do this if they could just be happy with the fact that they're turning a profit. If they were making $20 million a year in profit, they you if you and I would be fine. If we had a company that was turning $20 million a year in profit, we'd be like, fuck it. What do we even spend this on? You
yeah,
know?
I ran the
But
numbers on that at one point. It like if you make $1 million a year, you are profiting $83,000 a month. You're
yeah,
doing fine.
yep. But these companies can't do that. If they don't make $30 million next year, their company dies because they're fucking traded on the stock market and everyone will sell their stock and they will crater. And because of that, they cannot be happy. They have to find a way to keep fucking squeezing us.
Well, I mean,
That
that's
is the
just kind
that is
of
it's
generally how
the
it
it's
goes.
hmm?
That's just generally how it goes.
It wouldn't have to if we didn't have the stock market.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, like, I'm not opposed to changing some things, like getting this, like changing the system, moving some things around, but it actually has to be things that will be
Hmm.
effective. And the
Yep.
problem is, no rich person wants to stop being rich, and no average person wants to lose their chance at becoming rich.
Oh no, that's
And
I
that
get
is
that.
what stops a lot of people from doing it because realistically, and it sucks that it is realistic for some people, when a family member dies, you're rich.
Mm.
And when you get their assets and stuff like that, people don't want to create a situation where they know that they will never get assets like that again.
No, it's true.
Like that, like actually getting people to make that kind of change, it will never happen because once you start getting into the fine details of that, I remember talking to some of my friends out in Washington. It's hard when you live in the city, like some in certain ways. When it comes to like systemic racism and things like that, it can be hard to see in certain ways
Hmm.
and hard to understand how it is not a personal decision how people wind up in certain situations. However, where I come from, black people, Native Americans, Asians, we're not allowed to have land rights. Those people are still alive, living in that area of the country because
Hmm.
of laws that their property was taken from them and sold to somebody who looked more like me for nickels on the dollar.
Yeah.
So when you are talking to people and you're going around, nobody that you have met has mineral rights, water
Right.
rights, all this. None of them are people of color. They're only white people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of government systems that were in place before. So
Yeah.
when you don't grow up in an area like that, and even when you do grow up in an area like that, you don't really want to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's that white privilege. That literally is the white privilege. No people of color had them. No people of color had the rights to have them. And that level of wealth that carried over, I don't have them. Nobody in my family has them. But that doesn't mean that I don't know people who do. And their lives, wow, the head start that they got. And the monthly checks that came in to help them out. Wow. No, so it's things like that that have affected the people of color in this country, which you kind of gotta fix some stuff.
Yeah, because it's like
I do agree with it.
Like, I do understand where some of these folks are coming from and going like, look, this wasn't me. Yeah, sure, my grandpappy fucked some shit up and stuff, but it's like, I was just born into this. Why should I have to, sacrifice
And I see that side
for
too.
for something? But at the same time, it's like, you got to admit that while, yes, the damage was done generations ago, absolutely nothing has been done to fix that damage. So the damage is still there and will remain there until it is fixed. Someone's got to do it. And that is a really, really uncomfortable thing to deal with.
It's real. I'm sorry. Like, in a way, not in the way different vein, but in a slightly different vein. Did you see that huge activist for reparations find out that her family owned slaves?
I did not hear about that. No,
It was a black
that
woman,
sounds,
which that's probably why she did not see that coming at all.
yeah.
But yes, there were black people who owned black people. That was a thing too that happened back then. But when she found out that if the programs that she wanted to have happen, her family would be owing that money, wow, did she shut up fast.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
And that was where the shame really kind of kicked in. Like, it's like you had an opportunity. You had an opportunity to show that even if it affected you, you would still do it. Like, you would still do it. You would still fight for it. And instead, man, you got greedy.
That's, yeah.
Like, way to give all the people who opposed you solid ground to stand on.
Yeah, that's
like that was a
wow.
That was a bad move.
This close to really making a stand. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if she ever came back after that, but oh my God, reaching out to her for a statement on that. Wow. That like how much she was walking back statements and everything. And well, I need to think about some things. It's like, no, you don't. You don't
Wrong
need to
answer.
think about anything. Way wrong answer. Like,
that's a shame.
But that,
like, I don't know. I'm relatively certain that nobody in my family owns slaves. I'm not 100% sure on that. And
I'm 100% certain people in my family did.
Okay. I'm going that mainly on the fact that I'm pretty sure my family didn't come here until after emancipation, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that though.
My
like
family,
I've said before, I've never really cared that much about my heritage. But
so yeah, we like with my family being here predating the American Revolution. Yep, we were part of the. Yep. Yep. That's where the black Hackworths that are in this country, from my understanding, somebody back in the day with my name owned somebody back in the day.
Right.
Now that could have that may like that is just the best guess.
Right.
I would like to know more. I would like to find out more, everything like that. I'm kind of cool with reparations, but I mean, realistically, they ain't coming from me.
That's the thing. Yeah,
I
haven't
mean,
got
I'm
anything
so
to give.
fucking
Yeah.
poor. What do you want from me? I'll come over.
Yeah.
I'll help you build some. I'll help you do some woodworking.
Yep.
That is
well.
what.
Actually, here's an interesting. There was literally. Have you heard of the show Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an episode of Atlanta that was kind of like almost like a Twilight Zone-ish episode of what if reparations happened, and it was put in forms of they were able to trace uh all the descendants back to, it's like, okay, your great great grandfather owned my great great grandfather, so basically you get your paycheck garnished like child support to go support this other person. It was an interesting episode because they ended it with the like two white guys who are now working as waiters at a hoity-toity restaurant, and all the customers are black. And they're sitting there talking about it, and he's like, what do you like, and one says to the other, he goes like, yeah, this sucks. He's like, but the upside is now my daughter doesn't have to worry about this.
Oh, so it was a temporary thing.
Well, it basically was like he's paying the reparations for the rest of his life, but once he's done, the reparations are paid. And so that stain on the family is now clean. So now his kids and his grandkids won't have to worry about that hanging over him.
That is an interesting concept. That's an interesting way to go about that. However, yeah, that would fuck over an entire generation of a specific race, and that fucking over one race because before another. I mean, that's the thing.
It's one of those two wrongs not making a right kind of thing. Yes, I know.
Yeah,
what you're
but
saying.
you still do want to do something.
Something, yeah.
But it is kind of thing because I think what everybody knows is if you do that, then you create another system with another kind of resentment, and that is going to carry on into future generations. Everybody
who has to sell their family farm to pay off the ex-slaves, now they're going to be pissed for the next 4 generations.
Exactly. The pendulum swings, and that's the thing. Like, because that's all we've done with our problems in this country for the past few hundred years is we just, your problem, fixing yours, now it's their problem. Fixing theirs, now it's yours. That's all it has been. And granted, I'm a little bit harsh on our country because that is not entirely true. There have been things that have gotten better, just not as fast and as better as we want. And realistically, it's only because we haven't done it.
And here's the thing, though. Mm-hmm. And I know, and again, this is the liberal commie of me showing, if we had enough of these things like social safety nets, like the, universal health care, paid family leave, higher minimum wage, so on and so forth. If we basically went down the line of the progressive Christmas list, as it were, reparations wouldn't be that much of an issue because they wouldn't need it. If everybody was getting a fair shake, then we wouldn't need.
My suggestion for reparations we wouldn't need
was
to universal college for.
Also a great idea. Yes,
that was my idea.
Yeah, not just universal, but frankly, at this point, when we consider just how important a higher education has become in the modern day age, I'm starting to think we should be making bachelor's degrees as compulsory as high school diplomas.
I'd agree.
So it's like,
because I think high school education should still revolve around history and things like that. Mm-hmm. And they've been replacing history with computer sciences. I think that's a really big mistake. I think the base education should still be a history and art history, humanities, philosophy, critical thinking. Yep. I think those all should be primary components and lessons that the average person gets. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Since AI has really kicked up, man, I am getting a college education like crazy because I just am fascinated by things that I have not been able to get access to. Oh, okay. That information is in college textbooks. Asking those questions, they're hard to find the answers to.
So asking the AI to summarize it for you has been a big help, huh?
It has, and then taking the summarization and then diving into specific details at my own speed has.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, no, like I'm seeing some great stuff in the future. I'm also, but the problem with that is it's my motivation and my discipline towards furthering my own education for my own goals
Right.
is why that's working for me. Not everybody has the same level in the same level of motivation and discipline towards the same things. Like we know there are like I mean people are using AI for porn. I mean that's where it's going. That is going to be the primary resource of it for a
Wait, say that
lot
one
of
more.
people.
You cut out on me there for what?
Oh, there are a lot of people who are just going to be using AI for porn.
Oh, well, sure.
I mean
Everything eventually
that's
becomes
all
porn.
it's going to
Yeah.
be for them. Like I understand that not everybody is going to try to get smarter using AI like I have been. I but also just satiating general curiosities that a lot of people have had. I can see how AI just really helps satisfy the curiosity.
Yeah. Well, and don't get me wrong, even like it's shit, I could go on about this for hours.
Well,
um
we crossed an hour, and after everything this week, I
oh
could use
yeah.
some sleep. Are you got or go ahead. You got more to say on AI, go for it, but I'm gonna wrap it up
No, it's
after
going
a
to take too
little
long.
bit.
We'll have to save that for another day. We may have to commit an episode to AI because I have a
You
lot
want
to
to
say
try
about
to you
that.
want to try to do an AI after hour next week?
Why the hell not? Why the hell not?
Hey, we're
Yes.
doing a backup episode on Tuesday. If you want to do an after hour on that as well, I mean, I don't think we need to schedule the after hours.
That's a good idea. I'm down.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday for the after hour, and then we'll be back Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time for the actual episode.
Live long and prosper, humans.
That's really how you had to end that?